Hello readers! Today's story is about animals and it is called Imagine by Alison Lester. And each page is set in a different location and we're going to go on a bit of a hunt for some different animals that we might find on each page. Imagine by Alison Lester. This is the blurb on the back. Imagine yourself deep in the jungle, under the sea, in a land of ice and snow, on a farm, in the moonlit bush, on an African plain, in a prehistoric swamp. Then turn the page and find all the animals living there. Imagine by Alison Lester, published by Allen and Unwin. Are you ready to find the animals? Alison Lester talks about 4 animals on each page, and she uses rhyme in her writing. The end of the line where she mentions the second animal and the end of the line where she mentions the 4th animal rhymes. So exciting. Things like hump and bump and thump and stump. As you go along, you might be able to predict what she's going to read because you'll know in the back of your mind, oh, that rhymes with the line just above. I hope you enjoy her rhyme, her interesting animals and characters, and the actually amazing different landscapes we're going to go and visit. Have a great time, put a hat on, get some scarves or some thongs or whatever you might need for each page. Remember, you can pause as you go along to have a look around the video and see what animals you can find on each page. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you the list of animals that are found on each page, so you will know. So you might want a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper ready to write down the animals you can see. This is a great story and a great little adventure, and I love the rhyme. Have a great time reading this story. Imagine if we were deep in the jungle. Got my jungle hat. This is my jungle snake. That's his long tongue. Imagine if we were deep in the jungle where butterflies drift. Can you see them? And jaguars prowl. Where parakeets squawk and wild monkeys howl. Hoo, 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 hoo. Actually don't know what a wild monkey howling sounds like, but I used my imagination and you can too. Let's have a look at the picture from the jungle. What animals can you see? Can you see the anaconda snake? Can you see the 3-toed sloth? The toucan bird? The butterflies? The macaw bird? The jaguar that the boy is sitting with? The giant anteater? My goodness, these characters are having a great time in the jungle. I love the spider monkeys. We're off to the ocean now, so I've got my beach towel and my sunglasses. Imagine if we were like fish in the ocean. This is my fish, it's actually a whale. Imagine if we were like fish in the ocean, where anemones wave and hammerheads glide, where seahorses rock and hermit crabs hide. These are my sea anemones. That's a funny word, isn't it? I'll show you a picture of what they look like. And hammerhead is a shark. Let's have a look at the picture set in the ocean. I love how we have 2 main characters. We don't know their names, but there's a girl and a boy. And because this whole story is taking place in our imagination, she's able to ride a dolphin in this story. You should have a really close look at what the 2 characters are doing in each landscape. I'm going to help you by pointing out a few animals as we go along. Oh, there's the nautilus that looks like a shell, the sawfish with the long nose that looks like a saw, a sea dragon, a giant clam, a lobster. There's a butterfly fish, a stingray hiding, a prawn. There's our friend riding a dolphin. And the long thin fish under that is a trumpet fish. There's a seahorse down there. We're going to a snowy place now. So I've got my big thick furry jacket and my scarf and my head covered. You might have been to a snowy place. You might have even done some tobogganing or skiing. Are you ready to go to that place? Let's read. Imagine if we were crossing the ice caps, where penguins toboggan and Arctic hares dash, where caribous snort and killer whales crash. It's very exciting in snow-covered areas, isn't it? Let's have a look around the picture and see what we can find. These two characters have the most amazing imagination because one of them is doing dog sledding, where a sled or a sleigh is pulled over the snow and the ice by some dogs, and the other one is cuddling up to some seals and Arctic hares in front of an igloo. How much fun are they having? What can you find? I can see some penguins, some seals, some otters, the Arctic hares we talked about. I can see a polar bear, some elephant seals, some walruses, and a big beautiful snowy owl like I showed you in the introduction video. We're going to the country now. And in the countryside, particularly in Australia, they wear this, which is a very famous Australian hat called an akubra. It's made out of wool or felt. And in the country, we use wide brim hats to keep the sun off. Now, this akubra has been used a lot in country, city, and all kinds of places, so it's very worn out. So let's read what happens in the country. Do you have a hat like this? Imagine if we were out in the country where horses gallop and cattle graze and turkeys gobble, 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 and sheepdogs laze. Laze means to lie around doing not much. So if you have sheep on your farm, you'll need some sheepdogs in case you need to move them from one paddock to another. Let's have a look and see what we can find in the country picture. In Australia, the countryside is where farms are. So we call it in the country, out in the bush, in rural areas, in regional areas. These are some of the words that we use to describe the countryside. What do you call it where you live? Have you been to the countryside? If you've been to a farm in the countryside, you might be able to find many different animals here. But I can see the girl riding a stock horse. We can see goats and sheep and cows and a baby calf. We can see a turkey and chickens and ducklings and a duck. Remember, you can pause the video at any time to help you to look for animals and write them down. Imagine if we were surrounded by monsters. Where pteranodons swoop and triceratops smash. Where stegosaurus stomp and Tyrannosaurus gnash. This is a scary place, isn't it? Gnash is like when you gnash your teeth. Now, some people are really big dinosaur fans and they are going to know all the names of these dinosaurs. But can you see a brontosaurus? Can you see a stegosaurus? Can you see triceratops? Can you see Tyrannosaurus? Can you see a monoclonius? We're off on on safari now, so I've got my safari shirt on and I've got another wide-brimmed hat to keep me safe. So you ready to read? Imagine if we were away on safari where crocodiles lurk and antelope feed, where leopards attack and zebras stampede. That means run all off in a different direction towards the prey that they're going to eat. In the food chain, the animal that is doing the eating is called the predator, and the animal that is being eaten is called the prey. I wonder what will happen in our character's imagination on safari. Have you found some animals that you recognise yet? I'll show you around. We can see some baboons under the tree. You can see a gazelle behind them. We can see a hippo and a rhinoceros in the water. You can see an elephant, and behind them with the big horns are antelopes, and behind them is an animal called an impala. Can you see the creature at the front? It's a hyena, kind of like a dog. I would love to go on safari, would you? This book isn't really a traditional narrative, it's more written as a poem, but you can see that we do have two main characters and they are having adventures in each place that they go, but the story is told in the pictures. So we saw one of them having a bath by an elephant and one of them sitting at a lion's picnic. Very brave. You can be brave in your imagination. We're in the Australian landscape now, but it's at night. So you need maybe a torch and some good shoes because you don't know what you're going to be walking around on. So here we go. You ready to read? Imagine if we were alone in the moonlight, where bandicoots nibble and wallabies jump, where wombats dig burrows and kangaroos thump. That's their tail thumping on the ground. What animals are we going to find when we look in our pictures? Remember, they have to be Australian animals this time. The things that tell us this is a poem is that each page starts with the same line, imagine if we were, and also that we have rhyming with things like jump and bump and feed and stampede, and also because it's just giving us an idea about something and the story is really in our imaginations or in the pictures. A poem just gives us a window into an idea, or it expresses a strong feeling, or it can describe a scene. But this one is just dropping us into a couple of different scenes, and the rest is happening in our imagination as well as the characters' imaginations. It's very clever. So have you found the dingo, the emu, the kookaburra? Have you found the bandicoot? Have you found the echidna? Have you found the platypus swimming? Goodness, I would like to be one of these characters. The wombat on the ground there is one of my favourite Australian animals, and I saw one once in the desert, running back into its burrow. Imagine if we had our own little house. A cat on the bed, a rug on the floor, a light in the night, and a dog at the door. Sounds so cozy, doesn't it? Does it sound a little bit like your house? Just imagine. I love this story. It makes me want to go and daydream about all the places they went and all the animals that you could see there. Now, if you didn't manage to get all of the animals, I'm going to include some pictures here which you can pause and read the list. There's a code. the code will tell you where the animals are in each picture. So you can pause on whatever picture you want to have a look at, or you can have a look just at the lists. I really hope you loved this story, and I hope that you would read it over and over again, and maybe consider writing a poem of your own about different places, and maybe consider even using some rhyme in your poems. I'll see you on the next story, and keep reading until then. Bye!